Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. May is Beef Month in Kansas. John Sachse from the Kansas Beef Council will talk about what they're doing to celebrate and how they tell the nutrition story of beef. We'll also have features from Kansas Corn, Kansas Wheat, and the Kansas Farm Bureau, and our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association and market information from Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com. Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. May is Beef Month in Kansas. John Sachse from the Kansas Beef Council will talk about what they're doing to celebrate and how they tell the nutrition story of beef. We'll also have features from Kansas Corn, Kansas Wheat, and the Kansas Farm Bureau, and our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association and market information from Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom. In agriculture news, farmland values continue to increase at a rapid pace through the end of 2021, along with sustained strength in farm income and credit conditions. That, according to the Kansas City Federal Reserve, they say the value of all types of farmland was over 20% higher than last year. The recent strength in agriculture real estate markets have been supported by strong demand and historically low interest rates and vastly improved conditions in the farm economy. Now, lenders say the outlook is mostly favorable for agriculture in the 10th district they serve, but rising input costs are a risk to the sector. The possibility of weaker ag income and higher interest rates in the economy remaining risks for farmland markets. Now, even with the uncertainty around input cost, lenders expect favorable conditions in the economy to support farm finances and lead to more gains in farmland values during 2022. Now, despite risks, the Feds say ag appears to be well positioned in the year ahead. The North American Meat Institute said the House Select Subcommittee on Coronavirus Crisis recent report distorts the truth about the meat and poultry industry's efforts to protect workers from COVID. The report says meat packers worked with the Trump administration to make sure that they could stay open during the pandemic. So Julianne Potts, president and CEO of the North American Meat Institute, that's the National Trade Association for meat and poultry packers and processors, she says the Meat Institute and its member companies voluntarily provided hundreds of thousands of pages to the committee. She said the report ignores the rigorous and comprehensive ways that companies enacted to protect employees and support their critical infrastructure workers. And if you see a lot of cars on the side of the road next week, don't be alarmed. They're probably those participating in the annual Wheat Quality Council Winter Wheat Tour. They'll travel all over the state and come up with what to possibly expect for this year's Kansas wheat crop. That's something we'll discuss in the future. Stay with us. We'll talk beef in Kansas when we return. The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. And joining us now is John Sachse, who is the Director of Industry Relations for the Kansas Beef Council. John, we are here to celebrate May as Beef Month in Kansas.
And yeah, thank you for having us. And I was just thinking earlier today, we're already halfway through the month, and we've been super busy at the Beef Council with some events that we've done, and we always enjoy this time of year. I mean, it's always kind of considered the unofficial start to grilling season. And honestly, Ken, though, in our opinion, grilling season is about probably every month of the year. It doesn't have to be May. And I know there's even a story, Ken, of my grandpa a long time ago grilling out in blizzards. So if steak is on the menu, it's going to happen. So we're excited for May.
I am with your grandpa. We grill year round, and I have been known to be out there in that deep snow grilling up a great Kansas steak. So John, again, this is a time that we celebrate the producers. We also celebrate just the nutrition that is beef. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but the beef industry is a big part of the Kansas economy. And Governor Kelly was out on a ranch just a few days ago with the proclamation and highlighted that as well. That's good to know that your chief executive also gets it.
Oh, for sure. We've been so blessed. Governor Kelly seems to really appreciate agriculture. She understands the importance of it. So May 12th, we helped host her to Lions Ranch, and she mentioned afterwards that the state's economy essentially has been built on agriculture, and specifically the beef community. I mean, that dates back to the mid 1800s when folks started moving out west here to Kansas, and she's seen the importance of the beef community. We're glad that we're finally getting her out and seeing production ag in person. I know several years ago, we had some young producers that would go to her office for the Beef Month proclamation signing. Last year and this year, she actually went to ranches. She went to Phil Perry's operation in Oskaloosa last year. And then I mentioned Lions Ranch just outside Manhattan on the 12th. And Jan and Frank Lyons do so much for the beef community. It was awesome to have a great showing. And Ken, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be there. And Amy Langvart, daughter of Frank and Jan, she serves on our Beef Council Board of Directors, involved in the auction markets in Clay Center and Junction City, and a key kind of integral role in the ranch operation there. She helped us kind of line things up, and it was just a little bit warmer of a day, but it was an awesome day just with the amount of people that showed up. And I think Governor Kelly kind of saw the true community aspect of the beef community. Right. And so for that, we're pretty grateful for.
John Sachse is with the Kansas Beef Council. We are celebrating May, Kansas Beef Month. We're going to take a break, come back with more in just a moment.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com. And our guest is John Sachse, who is the Director of Industry Relations for the Kansas Beef Council. May is Beef Month in Kansas. And John, we talked about some of the things celebrating that's going on this month, but there's other things that are going on with the Beef Council, and one that folks continue to ask questions, and that's the nutritional value of beef and trying to find some of those answers. And you all have done a lot of work on trying to get those questions answered.
Yeah, for sure, Ken. A good portion of the work that the beef checkoff in any state, but specifically in Kansas, good portion of the work that we do is on the nutrition and kind of the retail end product side, and really just the consumer facing aspect of the community. We do have a producer education component, and that's very critical, and I'll briefly touch on that too. But here about a month or so ago, we invited the Nebraska Beef Council registered dietitian, a dietitian from California, and then Oklahoma, and then we have a registered dietitian on our staff as well, Abby Hadori. She's from the Kansas City area, and we came together and shot basically some nutrition short videos. They're 20-30-minute segments where we highlight from the registered dietitian's perspectives how you can include lean beef in your diet, whether you're an athlete, you're a young parent. We've been doing a lot of research on beef in the early years, and beef as a first food for toddlers and children. And I know beef in my family was one of the first things that we fed both of my boys. And so we've been highlighting those videos, those registered dietitians, and disseminating those out actually across the whole country on both East and West Coast. And that's been pretty unique. Ken, I also wanted to just highlight on the producer ed side of things, we will be hosting a stockmanship and stewardship event in Leavenworth County, June 16 to 18. And this is going to be really, I think, a unique opportunity for producers to learn kind of stockmanship principles. We're going to be taking maybe a more unique angle to things. Traditionally, these events have been just very heavy BQA focused, but we're going to be bringing in some guests and some speakers that can highlight entrepreneurship, grazing management. We're going to actually talk about some mental health, mental stress in agriculture. That's such a key topic nowadays. And then do some live cattle handling demonstrations, and producers that have interest in that. There's information on stockmanshipandstewardship.org.
All right, sounds good. Well, John, as always, great to talk with you, and let's go out and celebrate the great Kansas beef during Kansas Beef Month and anytime. So thanks a lot.
Ken, you're always welcome at our house for steak.
Very good. John Sachse, who is the Director of Industry Relations for the Kansas Beef Council, has joined us. Stay with us. We'll have more in just a moment.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
So our Seed to STEM program is very much a teacher-run program, and the purpose of it is to enable science teachers, middle school through high school, to be able to teach about our corn industry, to focus on biotechnology, to teach about ethanol in the classroom, but it goes beyond just providing the curriculum. Really, we want to be able to provide the supplies as well. But the purpose is on teachers, equipping them with the equipment and the labs that they need to be able to teach about agriculture in their science classrooms.
The labs that are here that we're participating with are a great way to expand on the lessons that we use already. Helps to bring in ag science. It helps to develop further our curriculum in an urban setting, showing our students more than what they would typically see within the city limits, and also finding that real world application and developing that bigger picture, that grander understanding of the world.
One of the things that impressed me the most about this workshop was having the teachers who designed some of these lab activities present them and explain the process of how they developed the activities and developed the labs, and then the conversation about how to extend those. And so having that conversation with the teachers that developed them was really, really impressive.
Being a science teacher in a public school system, being provided with the supplies, I'm going to be more likely to teach the lessons. Funding is a huge limitation for all of us in the classroom, and some of the supplies are rather costly, especially to be able to deliver to nearly 100 students. So just being afforded that allows for me to actually implement the lessons.
The supplies that we receive from the workshop are very valuable to me. I teach in a very small school district, and some of these supplies are somewhat expensive. So to be able to incorporate them in a larger scale in my small school with a smaller budget is difficult to do. So to be able to not only do the activities hands-on, but to leave with the materials to do it right away in my classroom as quickly as possible is very valuable.
You have to get here. You have to come to these workshops, see what they have to offer. It's going to open your mind to a new way of delivering content standard instruction that we're all hoping to become better at.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Lack of rainfall since fall planting, combined with vicious winds throughout the winter, have taken a toll on the wheat and soil. Gary Miller-Shosky, farmer north of Lakin in Kearney County, is just north of the worst areas. Several of his fields won't go to harvest, but others will provide below average yields. Many farmers in the area didn't apply full rates of top dress nitrogen because of limited rainfall and high prices. In Wichita County, Rick Horton, farmer south of Leota, has been fortunate enough to catch some rains. His family grows seed wheat, and except for fields lost due to a large fire in December, much of his wheat still has potential. In Stanton County, Jim Sipes, who farms and grows seed wheat west of Mantor, paints a bleak picture. Almost all of Sipes' wheat is lost. The adjuster zeroed out the fields completely or adjusted them to only 1 or 2 bushels per acre. Now he is left with the impossible decision of whether to destroy the wheat and plant grain sorghum or leave the wheat plants in place to try and keep the soil from blowing in the vicious daily winds. Elkhart, Rolla, and Hugoton is a similar story. Brown soils with meager brown wheat plants scatter the landscape. To the east, wheat fields show signs of life. This area has seen scattered showers over the last few weeks. Meade has only gotten 12 days without 1/10 of an inch of moisture. Tyler Ettinger, who farms south of Meade, says it's been a rough winter. The crop is behind. They missed last week's rain and need another inch or 2 of moisture to finish the crop out. This week's weather forecasts calls for 90 degrees temperatures and more wind, likely leading to an early harvest.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
I'm Debbie Lyons Blythe, and I'm a cattle rancher in the Flint Hills of Kansas. American beef is the most sustainable beef in the world. All cattle are raised for most of their life on grasslands. Some cattle then, before they enter the food chain, will end up in a feed yard where they are grain finished. In the feed yard, cattle actually get to eat a diet balanced by a nutritionist. We incorporate a lot of things into that diet, but one of the key things is we do feed corn because that's carbohydrates and it helps to lay down condition. But we also are able to feed things that we cannot eat. And those things are byproducts from various regions. I'm sure you've all heard of ethanol. There's a byproduct from ethanol that used to go to the landfill. It's called dried distillers grains, and cattle, we found, can eat that. So instead of going to a landfill to emit methane, we are now feeding that to cattle in a balanced ration so that they can utilize that and turn it into great protein. There's a few other byproducts that we use in different areas, and just a few examples might be in Idaho, where we grow potatoes, they'll use potato peelings in their diet. In the southeast, where they grow lots of vegetables, they will compost the vegetable trimmings and balance that into a cattle diet. So the feed yard is an excellent location for us to be able to manage very carefully the care of these cattle. In addition, the waste that is produced in a feed yard can be used to fertilize the ground around the feed yard. So we're actually so efficient in the American feed yards that we not only can feed things that we can't eat, but utilize the waste that comes from those animals. And those are the reasons why American beef is the most sustainable in the world.
To learn more about sustainability on the farm, visit KansasLivingMagazine.com.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
USDA recently updated 3 insurance options for livestock producers, including dairy revenue protection, livestock gross margin, and livestock risk protection. According to USDA's risk management agency, these were revised to reach more producers and offer greater flexibility. The updates will take effect July 1st. Under dairy revenue protection, which is designed to ensure against unexpected declines in the quarterly revenue from milk sales relative to a guaranteed coverage level, dairy producers now will be able to continue coverage even if they experience a disaster such as a barn fire at their operation. Livestock gross margin coverage has been expanded for cattle, dairy, and swine, making it available in all counties in all 50 states. Several changes have been made to the Livestock Risk Protection Program, which provides protection against price declines. Specifically, insurance companies now are required to pay indemnities within 30 days rather than the previous 60 days following receipt of the claim form. In addition, head limits have been increased, with fed and feeder cattle at 12,000 head per endorsement and 25,000 head per crop year, and swine at 70,000 head per endorsement and 750,000 head per crop year. The termination date under LRP also has been extended from June 30th to August 31st. For more information on these insurance programs and the updates, go to rma.usda.gov.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Mitch Stewart here with Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom. Planting is in full swing throughout the nation. This past week, the USDA's Planting Progress Report showed the weather finally allowed the planters to really start rolling, but still lagging compared to the past 5-year average. This week's report showed corn 49% planted versus 22% last year and 67% on the 5-year average. In soybeans, the report showed 30% planted versus 12% last week and 39% on the 5-year average. With the later plantings, it's not impossible to still get trendline yields, but the odds are sure against it. This week, the grains got quite the boost from the wheat market. The wheat market had a bold move up to start the week after coming out of the weekend with news of India banning wheat exports. This brought the whole grain complex up. India is not a large exporter of wheat, but was expected to help fill the gap from the loss of the Ukrainian bushels. Wheat futures reflected this news, along with the poor domestic crop, by making a limit move and posting new contract highs with the all-time high in sight. The cattle complex has continued to struggle with the future economic concern keeping live cattle futures down and high feeding costs pressuring the feeder cattle market. Even with the large disconnect between the cash market and futures, the cash market has remained fairly strong until this past week where it began to weaken. To talk about your grain and livestock marketing, give us a call at 888-452-8751. I'm Mitch Stewart with Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom.
Well, that's our show this week. Be social with us at kansasagreport.net or on our social media channels. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk with you next week.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.